Good afternoon, St. Mary's. This is Thomas Leah. It's actually morning, 11:22. We are going to be talking. So the subject today is what do the demons have to say about Mary? So I think that I am a huge fan. I think I talked about last week. I made a video, but I didn't send it out because it was too intense. But I might send it out, and I just leave it up to you if you want to watch it. But anyways, so one of my favorite things about Catholicism is tradition. So we have three pillars of the Catholic Church. So think of a stool, and there's three parts that's holding up the stool. Okay, so we have the Bible. Okay, what separates us from other Protestant denominations is that we have so it's Scripture, the Magisterium, and tradition. Okay, so all three of these things hold the Catholic Church, right? Because if you just have the Bible and you have nobody to have the ultimate say in what this thing means, then every single person becomes his own pope and gets to make a decision on what a certain part of Scripture means. And what the problem is that if somebody is contradicting somebody else, then truth doesn't actually exist, right? You can't have two things that are the exact opposite and then both be true, right? So we need an authority in order for there to be a church to begin with, right? So that's why we have the structure of the church. That's why we have something called the magisterium. They defend and they protect what's been passed on. They're the authoritative. Now, they don't make stuff up, but they do preserve and protect and defend the teachings that Jesus gave to us from heresies, right? But other people come in and say, no, this is what it actually means. No, the church has the say. And it needs to be that way, right? Or else truth doesn't exist. Okay. The second thing is tradition. So tradition is, Jesus was walking on the, earth for 2,000 years. Or, I'm sorry, for 2,000 years ago. And then for 1,000 years before that, King David was born 2,000 years or 1,000 years before the time of Christ. Okay. So that has all this time, and then God was speaking to Moses. So he didn't just stop, like after he came, he had much more to say to the church, right? So he's been speaking to the church for 2,000 years, and oftentimes through saints and through experiences, right? And so for me, that's like my highlight. That's my focus. I love that stuff. And in a particular way, there's a camp called the Mystics. So they receive revelations from Jesus, like on how they are to live, or visions from souls in purgatory. That stuff is super crazy. Or visions from people in hell, even. That stuff is super crazy. But it's all like good. Like it's all very like, healthy for us when we're trying to live out our call to be disciples, okay? One of the things that I like to turn to is what do demons have to say, in regards to our faith, especially to the Virgin Mary, because they like to talk about Mary a lot. They hate talking about her, but they're forced to talk to her a lot, talk about her. And so maybe the response would be like, well, if they're demons, how can we trust them? But even in scriptures, we can see Jesus actually he's like telling the demons to be quiet because they're revealing his identity, but they're telling the truth, right? So they're actually revealing something that's true. Through certain things, through exorcisms, through different occurrences that have happened throughout history, and even most recently, I mentioned that there's a session, is what they're called, an exorcism on YouTube, and you can actually go and listen to a demon like explain the power of the rosary. You can just simply type in "the demon explains the power of the rosary" on YouTube, and it'll pop up, and then you can hear the voice. It's really kind of crazy, but surprisingly not scary for some reason. There's like a piece there. But anyways, I'm going to find this really quick. I'll be back. Okay, we're back. Just had to pull up my phone really quick. So this is an account with Saint Dominic, okay, during an exorcism that Saint Dominic was performing. So it says, then the devil started screaming, "O you who are our enemy, our downfall, and our destruction, why have you come from heaven to torture us so grievously? O advocate of sinners, you who snatched them from the very jaws of hell, you who are the most sure path to heaven. Must we, in spite of ourselves, tell the whole truth and confess before everyone who it is who is the cause of our shame and our ruin? Oh, woe to us, princes of darkness! Then listen, you Christians. This mother of Jesus is most powerful in saving her servants from falling into hell. She is like the sun which destroys the darkness of our wiles and subtlety. It is she who uncovers our hidden plots, breaks our snares, and makes our temptations useless and ineffective. We have to say, however reluctantly, that no soul who has ever really persevered in her service has ever been damned with us. One single sigh that she offers to the Blessed Trinity is worth far more than all the prayers, desires, and aspirations of all the saints. We fear her more than all other saints in heaven together, and we have no success with her faithful servants. Many Christians who call on her at the hour of death, and who really ought be damned, to be damned according to our ordinary standards, are saved by her intercession. And if that Marietta did not counter our plans and our efforts, we should have overcome the church and destroyed it long before this, and caused all the orders of the church to fall into error and infidelity. Now that we are forced to speak, we also must tell you that no one who perseveres in saying the rosary will be damned, because she obtains for her servants the grace of true contrition for their sins, by which they obtain pardon and mercy. That's the end of the quote. And so for me, when I read that, that's like good news, right? Like it's like the easiest thing ever. Actually, one of the Saint Faustina, I guess she had a revelation of hell, and she saw like what it was, and really it's unfathomable. Like we cannot conceive like the pains that occur in hell, and not to mention that it's like an eternity, right? So but the one pain that they say that is kind of most acute, or one of them that's most acute, is the realization that I could have changed this so easily, just by simply saying the rosary. Like I didn't have to be here for all eternity, right? So imagine that. I mean, the saints say it's actually a really healthy thing to meditate on hell, right? Because then that kind of shows us like, whoa, like, this is such an easy thing, right? So we can avoid this whole thing, and it really forces us to go deeper in our faith, right? And to encounter God. So there's like so much good that can be found here. So turn into the rosary is kind of, the surest path to salvation. So if you're interested in finding more about the why, the how, and how to explain the rosary to others, we're going to be doing a talk at the church on the Our Lady of Fatima, so we'll be talking about that, and that'll be super interesting. So yeah, please feel free to come join us, and once again, thank you for watching Director of Religious Education. Hopefully see you soon. All right, God bless you. Bye-bye.